Prananda, good afternoon. Thanks. I can see we've got quite a small group here, which is nice. And hopefully I'm going to go straight into my slides because this is going to be the shortest workshop. It's going to be a whistle-stop tour, and with apologies for that. I've got the lovely Lucy in the background from DigiLeaders. So if I fail to share my screen, she will pop in and let me know. But hopefully you can see some slides. And so just quickly, my name is Marianne, and I work for Play Wales. With a national charity for children's play. I'm not going to read through the slides, but the general discussion today is hoping to revisit all of the policies and research and theory supporting children's play in the context of health, well-being, and resilience, and to remind ourselves how important our role is for children and for their play. So just really, really quickly, and I'm sorry about this, but it doesn't generally take long. I'd like you to think back to your play memory and use the chat to tell us about where you played, what you got up to, who you were with. When you think about your favorite play memory, what were you doing and how did it make you feel? So if you can use the chat to do that, just to share with one another what sorts of things you did, and just being very mindful of time. And I'm sorry that if this feels very rushed, but I wanted to just set the scene that generally the sorts of places that we played were outside with our friends, making mud pies, making Play-Doh in Nan's kitchen. We're this morning in the streets right outside our houses, and overwhelmingly there was a sense of happiness in our play memory. Although it wasn't always happy memories. It wasn't happy when somebody called us a name or took the mickey out of us when we were playing, or if we scraped our knees when we fell off our bikes. But generally, there's a sense that there was a time of excitement and adventure within a safe frame. And it's really important to, all of the evidence suggests when we're talking with children is that this is still how playing makes children feel, even though they're living in very different times than some of us might have grown up in. I wanted to start the session by reminding ourselves the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child will be very familiar to all of us, and certainly the Article 31 rights, and particularly the right to play, will be familiar to all of us as practitioners. But from time to time, if the convention, or the Committee on the Rights of the Child, feel that one of the articles isn't well understood, it publishes their guidance, general comments for governments and decision makers worldwide to clarify the importance of an article. General Comment 17 on Article 31 rights sets out how important playing is to children's development, but also provides for us a very useful definition, which talks about play as having key characteristics of uncertainty, non-productivity, and challenge. And although it starts by talking about all of the benefits of that playing brings to children, it establishes playing as a fundamental and vital dimension of the pleasure of childhood, that children are driven to play. And while they realize the benefits for play, they don't go out to play to keep their weight. That's just something that's an incidental benefit, which is good for us longer term. But for children, they play very much in the here and now. The general comment also strongly encouraged governments worldwide to consider introducing legislation around Article 31 rights. And for a bit of context, here in Wales, through the Children and Families Wales Measure 2010, Welsh government became the first country worldwide to introduce statutory play duties, known now as the play sufficiency duties, where local authorities need to assess opportunities to play and to develop annual action plans in terms of how they'll respond to that assessment. And all of that is covered in statutory guidance called Wales, a play-friendly country. Now, I thought it would be useful to just remind ourselves of what the theorists tell us about play and where there are some common features around play theories, and the play enhances the development of flexible and adaptive emotions. And those design features of play, such as uncertainty, flexibility, as if or what if frames, what if I jump off these pallets, for instance, looking at the photograph, those enable children to develop repertoires for avoiding emotional overreaction through a range of play strategies, such as courage and bravery, sociability. Many of us will see a meme that's going around at the moment, which encourages us to start the day with the bravery as a 4-year-old wearing a Batman t-shirt. And I think that for any of us who work with young children, that really resonates with us. There's great power in a coat on your head turning into Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman or whoever the power hero might be. The core features of emotional development include the ability to understand emotions and feelings and to read those of others. And playing, the theorists remind us that playing is a way of self-healing and fosters resilience to stressful life events and helps children to express emotions that relate to situations that they have no control over, like a pandemic or more currently, like a worldwide conflict. Playing helps children develop mastery over their stressful situations and should have prominence in all settings. So this is, if we had more time, I would open the discussion to ask you about the benefits of play and how you kind of use the evidence base to advocate for children's play. But I've put together a handy slide here which draws together all of the well-established body of solid evidence that shows the contribution that play, and particularly self-directed play and self-organized play, can make to children's long-term and immediate well-being, to their physical health, their mental health, and resilience. Playing supports socialization, and when they play, children interact with others, both peers and with the adults in settings. And that came out very much in the film that we heard this morning when children talked about missing their friends and playing with friends or playing with childcare providers. Playing builds resilience by boosting children's emotion regulation and then therefore their confidence and creativity to problem solve and persevere. It's crucial for good health and well-being, and playing is how very young children most likely keep active and develop active lives. It supports children to feel part of and their wider communities, allows children to learn about the world around them and make connections, and supports learning and development, building the structures of the brain and skills such as problem solving and critical thinking, which Jonathan from Eston talked a little bit about this morning in his talk. Now, in 2020, there was a rapid review of the impact of other quarantine and restricted environments on children's play. And it found that children's play had been significantly altered during the early days of the pandemic. And it noted and came to the conclusion that as we learn to support children living in and emerging from pandemic-related lockdown and the situations and stresses that those cause, playing is probably one of the most important areas to focus on to promote children's health and well-being, and why it's our settings are so important to support children's longer term recovery from the uncertainty that the last few years has brought to their lives. Now, going back to that statutory guidance quickly, Welsh Government identifies the opportunities for play for children to play can be supported or restricted across 3 interrelated domains: temporal, spatial, and psychological, that children need free time to become immersed in playing. They need access to good space to support their ability to play. But these experiences of time and space are very reliant on psychological, attitudinal things such as permission. Children have feeling a sense of freedom, permission, belonging, and enough opportunity to direct their play. I'm going to just whistle stop tour this now because I'm aware of the time, but that statutory guidance also provides for us in settings as practitioners a very useful definition about what a rich play environment is. So local authorities need to assess to what extent its early years policies provide for play, and to what extent childcare settings provide rich play environments. And to help with that, it has this definition, which you can see when it talks about environment being flexible, adaptable, opportunities, potential for challenge. It relates right back to those design features for play, which we revisited, and right back to the general comment on Article 31. So for those of us who want to provide a trusted space where children feel free to play in their own way, in their own time, on their own terms, with whom they want to play, knowing that we have national guidance and law and an international human rights treaty backing us up, should give us incredible peace of mind. The statutory guidance also provides a list, a range of things that children should be able to freely interact with or experience to make the most of their opportunities to play. And that includes other children, the natural world, the four elements, and challenge and uncertainty again. So all of these national, international resources which remind us how important playing is. Back to general comment, and just to finish off today, it sets out very much that play takes place with peers on their own and with supportive adults, and reminds us that when we observe and play, it provides us with very unique insights and understanding into children's perspectives. We have a very unique opportunity working with children in early years and childcare settings to support children to be active agents in their own time and space for play. So really, just to finish off a little bit in terms of the policy, I think it's really important that we celebrate the very important role we have in supporting time, space, and permission in our settings. And one of the reasons why those settings are so important to supporting children to realize their right to play is that as practitioners, we listen to what children say about their play, and we genuinely value their contributions, rather that's through the provision of certain or the way that space is designed, or the way that we identify space or plan our day. Our children are our starting point. We consider play spaces as important environments and do our utmost to protect those. And we have a really important role in advocating how important play is to other adults and how important and essential it is for healthy development and well-being. It's our role, and we often take on the role of making sure that all adults in children's lives understand that playing is legitimate behavior and that it is their human right. And when we're observing children, we know that play can be chaotic and frantic and noisy and messy and smelly and disordered. But we understand and make sure that other adults understand that children's conception of a desirable play space doesn't always match up with what an adult thinks a play space should look like. And again, that came through in the video this morning when a mum was kind of missing her child's nursery, mostly because of the mess that it was able to accommodate and she didn't really want in her life. And we prioritize children's time to play. We do our best not to over supervise it, because we know if we take away the child's free choice, then that's the very thing that makes their behavior, we're taking away the very thing that makes their behavior play. So really, just finishing off, as important as the benefits of play are, and they're felt well into adulthood, it's really important that we remember how integral it is and the immense value that children place on it in the here and now, and that we should be seeing children as human beings, not human becomings. Our role is to make sure that children have a happy and healthy childhood, and very often by making sure that we're aware of the importance of play and taking actions to promote and protect it, we're making sure that children have sufficient time and opportunities to play. So very quickly, on the Play Wales Coir Cymru website, you'll find a range of resources that support the promotion and protection of children's rights. We have Right to Play, we have posters for settings that are downloadable and postcards. We have published 2 Rights to Play storybooks, with the 3rd coming soon. We have a range of toolkits and information sheets, and we have a Playful Childhoods campaign, and through that have a Playful Childhoods website, which aims to provide parents and communities with top tips and helpful hints on how they can support children's play. So there's a range of tools there if you feel that parents of children who use your settings and service can benefit from a little bit of how-to guides or helpful hints. Please do use the resources that are on the Play Wales website. They're there for you to use. And everything that I've spoken to in probably record time, I'm sorry for the rush, is freely available on our websites. And I'm going to stop sharing. And thank you very much for your engagement today and for coming along. Diolch yn